The importance of gun ownership regulation. The topic of gun ownership in the U.S. presents a complex intersection of different views on violence, safety, and politics. While events such as the recent school shooting in Uvalde draw attention to the issue of gun ownership control, the authorities rarely take any reaction measures to such events, causing public dissatisfaction with their inaction. The Robb Elementary School shooting emphasized the inconsistencies in gun ownership control legislation, where 18-year-old Salvador Ramos was able to buy 2 AR-15 rifles legally. Furthermore, the shooter could buy a large amount of ammunition without gaining attention from local authorities. This essay will explain that gun ownership should be more tightly regulated in the U.S. to reduce the pressure it puts on politics and eliminate the idea of guns being an instrument of protection and preventing gun violence. Firstly, support for gun ownership is generally associated with an increased feeling of safety in gun owners and a feeling of protection for their family members and close ones. A significant part of the U.S. population perceives guns as an instrument of protection. Gun sales and background checks spike in response to mass shootings and periods of uncertainty in society. Thus, the background check rates were higher after the shooting incident in Sandy Hook Elementary School, the announcement of the pandemic, and the start of the Black Lives Matter protests. The pattern suggests that Americans view guns as a safeguard without realizing the harm firearms can cause in a fraction of a second. Instead of being ready to use firearms for personal safety, gun owners need to acknowledge that they pose a threat to society as potential assaulters. The introduction of additional gun ownership control measures focused on discarding the image of firearms as an instrument of protection can significantly reduce the number of purchased weapons. However, the same people who keep guns for safety purposes do not consider that firearms presence can significantly increase the level of hostile interactions and violence, as well as suicide rates. Furthermore, by carrying or storing guns without necessary security measures, people endanger themselves and others in cases where the weapon falls into the wrong hands. Stronger regulations and policies on gun storage and carrying and limitations on places where people can use weapons can help reduce gun violence. The roots of political disputes over gun ownership are sourced in the constitutional right of the U.S. population to keep and bear arms. The Constitution also associates the citizen's right to keep and bear arms with freedom, which is why a significant part of the population strongly opposes more strict gun ownership policies. However, even some gun-owning households support more strict gun control measures and background checks. While politicians refrain from supporting gun ownership control measures to avoid losing their ratings and votes, gun sales are increasing yearly. At some point, it will become even more challenging to take additional measures in gun ownership control, which would significantly worsen the situation with gun violence and mass shootings in the future. In conclusion, this essay explains why gun ownership should be more tightly regulated in the U.S. While the population perceives firearms as instruments of protection and safety without realizing the potential harm guns bring to society, the only thing left to stop violence and mass shootings is to increase gun control measures. Moreover, a significant portion of the population now supports a total ban on gun sales in the country. Thus, stricter gun regulation can satisfy both sides of the dispute while reducing the number of threats to society at the same time.